Hi, welcome back to my channel. So in my last video, we went through what might make an ideal summer knit for me. In this one, we're gonna shop my stash and we're gonna take some time to put some patterns with some of the yarns that I currently have in my stash that would work well and I think would work well in the summer. So this is me looking for realistic summer knits based off of what I already have, already own, all of those yarns that, you've collected over time. I say, as I've only been knitting 1 year. So I'm trying to balance, practicality, aesthetics, and what I would like to knit and what I would like to see in my wardrobe, where I feel like I might have a gap or where I feel like I could use a little bit more of these types of garments. So some of these yarns I had purchased with a pattern in mind already. So they have their immediate pairings. I probably won't give you alternatives for those particular yarns because this is also, so this video is me stashing, oh my gosh. Okay. This video is me stash shopping, as well as a bit of a pattern roundup and also summer knitting plans. So this is gonna be a little bit of everything kind of mashed into one video. So if it is a yarn that I had already purchased with a project in mind, I will really only talk about that project just because that is all that I want to know about it. I don't want to find other patterns to go with it. For the ones where I have the yarn and I don't really have a particular pattern or project tied to it, I might go through a couple of alternative options that I think would work well for this depending on how I'm feeling when I cast on the yarn. So we're going to start with my most recent acquisition of summer yarn, and that is the Juniper Moon Farm Zooey, which I have my little project quantity right here. So I have, this is a sport weight yarn, and I have it in the colorway Claystone. Can you please, there we go. So it is a cotton linen blend. So it's 60% cotton, 40% linen, and there are 284 yards per 100 grams. And I have 5 skeins total for this. It's a very earthy terracotta rust tone, which I tend to gravitate towards myself. It is definitely in my color palette. I am an autumn. So this is, a yarn that I feel like I would wear quite often. Now, the project I have tied to this is, fittingly enough, the Clay Tee by Ozetta. So this approximately cost $9 on Ravelry. It was published this year, or last year, so let's see the particular date. It was published in July of last year, so a little over a year old. There are currently 278 projects on Ravelry, which is kind of a small amount, I would think, for a project being there for only a year from such a popular designer such as Ozetta. It has a size range of 2 extra small to 5XL, and that would fit a bust circumference of 30 to 60 inches or 76 to 152.5 centimeters. So it's a pretty large size range. And it is meant to be knit with with quite a bit of positive ease. Let me see if I can find the particulars about that. So it is supposed to be knit with 10 inches of positive ease. So that's quite a bit of positive ease. In my version, I'm probably not going to knit it with that much positive ease. I feel like that might be a little bit much for me. It is a very heavily textured, oversized top, but it still feels wearable, I think, especially in this yarn. I did already cast on my swatch as well, and it's just such a lightweight material that it creates. this. So and please excuse my nails. I had yellow nail polish on and I just took it off because it was peeling and now my nails are stained. So I apologize for that. It is a top-down construction with a lot of positive ease, a rolled neckline, and a relaxed drop shoulder feel. So I think it's going to work very well for what I tend to gravitate towards for t-shirts in the summer months. And it really does give that like beachy summer look. This is what I really do think it's going to become a staple in my wardrobe. All right, so the next yarn I have on my list, let me just put this back in its little bag. All right, the next yarn that I have on my list is the Lion brand 24/7 cotton in the colorway Spruce. So this is yarn that I picked up when Joann's was going out of business. I purchased it with no project in mind. I bought 8 skeins total for a total of 14,000 yards. It is 100% cotton and it has 186 yards per 100 grams. And it is a worsted weight cotton. So like I said, I did purchase this with no project in mind. It was Joann's was going out of business. I had just started knitting. I was like, oh, maybe I'll knit some cotton garments. We'll see. So what I've done is I've pulled a couple patterns that I think would work really well for this cotton and for my personal style. So the first one that I have on the list is the Sirocco by Maria Korak. So it was published in May of this year, and it was actually published in the Lina magazine, issue 29. So you can't purchase it on Ravelry, but I did purchase the Lina magazine, issue 29, because I think this is what I'm going to wind up knitting for this yarn, or at least one project I will use this yarn for. So it is a pretty inclusive size range. It has sizes 1 through 7. And that comes with a recommended ease that is very large though. So it is a 28 to 32 inch recommended ease. That is massive. It really is supposed to be this oversized, throw on over something kind of top, which I really like. Would I knit it with that amount of positive ease? Debatable. We'll see how I'm feeling. I might find a shirt that has maybe similar positive ease or a positive ease I really enjoy in my wardrobe and see where I land with it. The size range does fit a chest circumference of 59.25 through 233 centimeters. So like I said, it's meant to be worn with a lot of positive ease, but because of that, I think it lends itself to a very inclusive size range. There are only 16 projects on Ravelry right now, but considering it was literally just released this month in Lina magazine, I think that's quite a bit of projects. So super awesome. I'm excited, and it does require worsted weight yarn, so that'll be perfect for me. So the construction is a very open work, airy structure and very oversized. And as I said, it's a perfect kind of summer, lightweight layering piece. It's very vacation coated and it has more drape focus than fitted and visually airy, even with that larger silhouette. I'm not 100% sure how the cotton's gonna go. I think it will look really good. We'll see what happens. I think it would be practical in the cotton. It gives that vibe. So the next item that I had as a potential for this yarn is the Numi Tea by Lay Knit. So this was published in March of this year. So it's only been available for, like 2 months maybe, and it already has 47 projects on Ravelry, which is, in my opinion, quite a bit for only about 2 months of publication. So it does require a worsted weight yarn, which why it would be perfect for this. And it's about $8 to $10 USD on Ravelry. The size range is extra, extra small through 5XL, so quite a large size range, to fit a chest circumference of 85 to 150 centimeters, or 33.5 through 59 inches. Or actually, that's the circumference of the tee itself. And then it's supposed to be knit with about 10 centimeters or 4 inches of positive ease. When I knit this, it probably would be with that positive ease. I think otherwise it might be a little bit too tight for me. So the construction, it is a top-down tee with a textured laced yoke details and quite a clean fit. I think this would be a very feminine textured knit without being too delicate, and I think it would be an excellent summer t-shirt for the office as well. And I think that the color would look quite well with the texture of this. And it really, really could be a pretty wearable piece in my wardrobe. The next option that I had for this yarn is the Honey Mist, I think. One second. Yep, the Honey Mist by Meiju Kaleo, which was also published in March of this year and in the Lina Magazine issue 28. So I also purchased the Lina Magazine issue 28 because I really love this top. It currently has 27 projects on Ravelry with a size range of 1 through 9, which requires a 6-inch or 15 centimeters of positive ease and aligns to a chest circumference of 35.5 through 68.5 inches or 89 through 171 centimeters. So it's quite inclusive size range. I think it's great. It is a textured summer top with a pretty relaxed feminine fit and airy stitch details. It has these gorgeous cables going down the sleeves with a stockinette body and ribbing on the neck, hem, and sleeves. It's just it's a beautiful picture. I like a beautiful pattern. I think it has a very romantic energy. I think it's a very gorgeous, delicate, like cottagecore vibe to it, which I personally love. So I think that would be great. All right, let's see what else I have going for this top. I think that actually might be it for this yarn. Oh no, the other one that I put under this yarn is the Crumpet Camisole by Park and Knit, which I did talk about in my previous video as more of an aspirational summer knit, not necessarily something that I think I would do. Granted, this does call for a sport weight yarn, so I would be knitting off gauge and with a thicker yarn if I used this. However, I don't think I would need all the yarn that I have for if I did one of the other patterns, so this could be a great way for me to just kind of stash bust. Sorry if anything changed. I got a spam call, so my recording stopped. I film on my phone. What I was talking about was the Crumpet Camisole by Park and Knit or Park Williams. It was originally released in July of 2024 and has 143 projects on Ravelry, which is not very much, I would say, for how long it's been out, but it is a very airy, gorgeous top. It has sizes from extra small through 5XL, which equals out to a finished chest circumference of 28 through 56 inches or 71 through 142.5 centimeters. And it's meant to be worn with 0 to 6 inches or 0 to 15 centimeters of negative ease. So it's a very airy, gorgeous top. I do think that it would be an interesting one for me because I would be knitting off gauge, as I said, with a thicker yarn than what the pattern calls for, but I think that could be really interesting. It could be a fun experiment for me as I try to do it. It's lace with a very delicate repeating lace motif, negative ease, and cute feminine straps. So it's very much one of those patterns where you could see yourself having this cute little picnic in the woods or on the beach with your friends, being very girly, very demure, very mindful. Is that still a thing? I don't know. You know, very whimsical vibes to it, which I love. It would be interesting in an unrealistic way because I'm trying to force this cotton into this pattern. It would be, like I said, an experiment, but we'd see where it goes. All right, so that is it for the 24/7 cotton, which moves us on to the Sewrella cotton linen wool that I have in the colorway Cruel Summer. Now I'm gonna show it to you with the caveat that I have already recorded this video once. I recorded it last weekend and my sound was very off from my film. I tried to fix it, I couldn't, so I'm re-recording. With that in mind, I had yet to cast on a project for this yarn. When I filmed last, I have now cast on a project. So I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to kind of still include some of the information that I had, but just be aware. Right, so Sewrella cotton linen wool in the colorway Cruel Summer. And I must say, she nailed it with this. This is also a preview, I guess, into my knitting podcast I will be filming soon. But she really nailed it with this dyeing. It really does. It gives 110% Cruel Summer vibes. So I'm trying to find a part that really shows it off well. Here, I think this is good. Without losing stitches. Oh no. Okay. So if you can see, it has all of the like Cruel Summer colors in it. So it has the orange, the pinks, the purples, the blues. It is beautiful. So this yarn, a little bit of details. It is a fingering weight yarn, 60% merino, 30% Pima cotton, and 10% linen with 437 yards per 100 grams. And I have one skein. This really limits what I can do with this yarn. It has to be a one skein project. So the options I had were the salty water tank, which I have made one before as a one skein project and it worked out awesome, by Park and Knit. So it is, I'm going to give you a little bit more details. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to talk about the other yarn that I have one skein for, which would have pretty much the same patterns, honestly, that goes with it. So the other one skein of summer yarn that I have is another Sewrella one, and this is actually one of the first Sewrella skeins I've ever purchased, and I purchased it at an LYS when I first started knitting. And this is the Sewrella Silk Sock in the colorway Animal Kingdom. So this is another fingering weight. It is 50% silk, 50% merino. Is it really? Oh yeah, nice. And it is 438 yards for 100 grams. And it's a very variegated, you know, pinky, greeny colors. Very my vibe, very my tones. And so, like I said, it's going to have pretty much the same project options because it is going to need to have a one skein project. So back to the patterns themselves. We have the Salty Water Tank by Park and Knit. So this, like I said, is a one skein project I know will happen in fingering weight yarn. It was released in August of 2025, so last year, and there are currently 38 projects on Ravelry. It does require a fingering weight yarn, and it has a size range of extra small through 5XL. It's a pretty open gauge, slinky kind of little tiny tank top, which, as we know from my previous video, I love a good tiny tank in the summer. And it would fit a finished chest circumference of the project. The finished circumference is 26 through 58 inches and 66 through 147.25 centimeters. And it's meant to be worn with 2 to 6 inches of negative ease or 5 to 15 centimeters. So with that in mind, it's tiny tank, negative ease, simple clean shaping, very minimal details. It has a nice slip stitch detail along the bottom part. It's super wearable. It lets the yarn shine in that if you have a gorgeous variegated yarn, it is going to stand alone within this project. It is the focal point of the project. There is no fun design features, anything like that that's going to overshadow the yarn you have. It makes the most sense for a single skein for me, at least. It's an easy wardrobe piece, and it balances that wool content with the Florida practicality for me, where I can just wear this and it not be too hot, because it is that tiny little tank with a little bit more of an open gauge. The next pattern I have is the Vera Top by Witra Designs, and spoiler alert, that is what the cotton linen wool is becoming. So this is a tiny little tank. We love a tiny little tank in my household. So it is released in October of 2022 with a total of 42 projects. So not a very well-known pattern. It has a size range of extra small through 3XL. So it is a little bit more on the less size inclusive side as some of the other patterns. The chest circumference is meant to fit 76 to 126 centimeters or 39 to 45, or wait, no. Oh, she doesn't do it in inches because it is a European, so it's only in centimeters. But that's still quite a small size range. I think it's supposed to have some negative ease in the top. Yeah, so it's 0 to 5 centimeters of negative ease. I got a little bit lower gauge when I was doing it, so I'm going up one size, but I do think that on the side of size inclusivity, it's not the best. It's not the best, but it works for me. It's a very fitted tank, minimalist shaping with very simple structure. It's highly wearable for me. It could be something that I just throw on. It adds a bit of pizzazz to just a basic pair of jeans. It's not like I'm just wearing a jean and tank, especially in a variegated yarn like what I'm doing in. It would give a very, it is the statement piece. I can wear it with something super plain and it is the outfit, essentially, especially with the cross at the neck. I think that's really very fun and a different detail. The next and final one that I have as a tiny little tank for single skein projects is the Tekla Top by Milena Juhola. So the Tekla Top was published in April of 2023, and it does call for a light fingering weight. So technically the yarns that I have are going to be a little bit thicker than what it calls for. That's fine in my opinion. It comes in sizes 1 through 9, which fits a finished circumference of 71 through 154 centimeters or 28 to 60.5 inches. So it is a very girly, airy tank top. It is light, it is airy, it's originally knit in cashmere, but it's designed to have a very relaxed fit, deep open back, and then it has that cute girly ruffle hem detail, which I do love that. It could be worn at home, lounging around the house. It could be worn easily with like a little strapless bra to run some errands, or I could wear it over a t-shirt. That's also a great option. It's worked top down. The front is worked flat, followed by the back increases, and then you add new stitches for mid-back, where you're then joined in the body, and you join in the round and work the body with, and it has I-cord edges and I-cord straps. So it's pretty simple, I think, design. The ruffle is, I think, where it takes a little bit more of an advanced technique. And there are currently 109 projects on Ravelry. Alrighty, that is all for my one skein projects. So we can now move on. Well, let me just make sure. I think it is. Yeah. Okay, now we can move on to my next yarn that I purchased with a particular project in mind. So this is the Sewrella Silk DK in the colorway Alchemy. So it was from the Eras Club collection. So this is a DK weight yarn. It's 50% merino, 50% silk. So it has 231 yards per 100 grams. So I have 693 yards total. If you can tell, I had a lot of Sewrella yarn. This is before I bought a lot of this before I realized I don't like making garments out of hand-dyed yarn unless it's a single skein project, because I really don't like switching skeins. But I have the yarn, I'm going to use the yarn. The top that I have in mind for this, and the reason I bought this yarn, is the Hobbii top by Suzanne Mueller. We all know the Hobbii top. If you don't know the Hobbii top, where have you been? I'm not even on majority of social media and I know about the Hobbii top. So it is, you know, let me get the details. I'm not going to give you too much because, like I said, most of you know about the Hobbii top at this point. It was released in May of 2024. It has 8,059 projects on Ravelry. It has been knit so many times. It has a beautiful boat neck, very clean line design. You can do it with a rolled stockinette edge, or you can do it with the ribbing. Personally, I would knit it with the ribbing. It's just such a clean design. And it's one of those ones that I could probably also wear this to the office, if I'm being completely honest. It's a very, very great project. It comes in size ranges extra small through 2XL, so not the best size range, I will say. And it fits a chest circumference of 74 to 81 through 118 to 127 centimeters, or 30 to 32 through 47 to 50 inches. So not the best size range, however, it's popular. It can be worn with a snug. It can be worn snug with approximately 0 to 2 centimeters or 0 to 0.8 inches of positive ease, or it can work with more room as well, so like 5 to 8 or 2 to 3.2 inches of positive ease. So it gives you a lot of options. I'd probably knit it with a little bit more of a snug fit just because I would want it to have that more clean look to it, so I could wear it somewhere like the office. Alrighty, so that, one of the notes that I have is this yarn combination with this top gives very soft, rich aunt energy, which is exactly what I'm going for in my entire day-to-day life. I don't want children, so my parents are relying on my little brother to be the one to give them grandkids. So I will be the soft, rich aunt. I will be the rich granny, the soft, rich granny who's just knitting the nieces and the nephews little blankets and things. So does very much play into my desired aesthetic of life. Okie dokie, let's move along. We're moving so much faster this time than I did in my first recording. I love it. Move this stuff out of the way. Okay, so the next thing that I have is the Hobbii Friends cotton linen, which I recently learned there's been some controversy and drama with Hobbii. I bought this yarn quite a bit ago. I'm going to use it because I have it, but I haven't really bought too much more from them. It's not my preferred yarn provider. That's the word I was looking for. Okay, so what I have are 2 colorways of this actually. So I have enough to make 2 garments, maybe more, of each of this. So I have the first colorway that I have. Oh no, let me pull up a little bit more. info on these. Sorry, folks. Pause for bad planning. Okay, so the first one that I have 12 skeins of colorway 11, which is this blue-white colorway. And so I have 2,200, almost 2,300 yards. So I could probably make 2 projects out of this in reality. And then I also have colorway 15, and I have the exact same amount of the yarn. And so this is more green. So this is 50% cotton, 35% rayon, and 15%, it says other, but I think the other is linen. Yeah, so it's 50% cotton, 35% viscose, 15% linen. And it is 191 yards per 50 grams. So for this, I had a couple patterns. The first one is the Mediterraneo top by Knits and Spritz on Ravelry, which was released in May of this year, so this month. As I'm filming, it is May. And there are a total of 12 projects on Ravelry. It has size range from 1 to 9, which fits. The finished bust circumference of that is 33.75 through 57 inches, or 86 through 144.5 centimeters, so pretty decent. And I think it's supposed to be knit with some negative ease, or just a little bit of positive ease. So it is a striped summer top in its pattern. With these colors, I probably wouldn't stripe it unless I had a similar yarn composition in like a basic color. Honestly, I'll probably just knit it straight through in this color. But I like the lightweight vibe. I like the boat neck, the split. I think it has like a split hem. Yeah. Love the split hem. I think it would look excellent as just its own in one color. It, with the stripes, gives it more of a vacation coated vibe. Without the stripes, I think it just gives it like a nice summer tank top. The other option that I have is the 9 p.m. tank by Tiffany Ty. So this was released in October of 2022 and currently has 327 projects on Ravelry. So it has a size range of made to measure. I forgot. This is a made to measure pattern, which means has a pretty decent size range and it's going to fit quite well. It's very clean, fitted, meant to have negative ease. It is one of those ones that's very realistic. I could make in both of these and just have that as a tank top I can throw on when I just feel like wearing a basic tank top. Minimalist with this yarn particularly wouldn't be as minimalist as in a nice plain neutral color, but still great option. The other one I had is the Lyra Tee by Irene Lynn. I don't think I would go with this, but it's a gorgeous tee. So it was released in June of 2024. And it has 274 projects currently on Ravelry and a size range of 1 through 10, which fits finished circumference of 86 through 153 centimeters or 34 through 60 inches. And it's meant to be knit with 6 centimeters or 2.5 inches of positive ease. So just a little bit loose on the body. So it's very relaxed, drapey vibes, very effortless, and it has those very adorable little cables along the edge of the sleeve and the body ribbing, and the sleeves are ribbed while the body is mostly stockinette until you get to the bottom of it, which I think is gorgeous. It has fantastic like vibes to it, in my opinion. And I think it's top-down construction. top down. They use twisted stitches, which is really nice, and it's seamless, which we love. And then another pattern that I'm kind of throwing in for these two as an option is the Cumulus T O-neck by our favorite Petite Knit. So it's very popular for a reason. It's a top-down construction O-neck top with a very large size range of extra small through 5XL. And it's meant to be knit with 4 centimeters or 1.5 inches of positive ease. What else can I say? You know, it's light, it's airy. It would work well for this yarn, I think, to create just a nice little tee. And there's obviously 903 projects. It's a well-known knit and not too much to say. It's a very basic top that I think would work well with this yarn. And then I think we have one more to go with this. Yes. So we have the T number 1 is the other option that I had for these. So that's by My Favorite Things Knitwear. It was released in May of 2023 and currently has 926 projects on Ravelry and a size range of extra small through 4XL. So less size inclusive than the Petite Knit one, but still there. The other difference is this one I think is meant to be knit with much more positive ease than the Petite Knit one. So you really could, depending, get away with more sizes than it says, I think, if you were okay with less positive ease. Let's see. Super project. Oh my gosh. It's a popular project on Ravelry. Saddle shoulders construction, very oversized, relaxed silhouette. And it does feel like something that I could wear pretty regularly and often. I'm curious. I haven't knit a swatch in this yarn yet, so I'm curious to see how it knits up and if I actually like it or not. So that would probably also help me to determine what I wind up knitting with this yarn. Oh, and then we actually do, there's a bug. Okay, we do have one more pattern to go with this, and it is the Moonset Tee by Ozetta. If you didn't know, I love Ozetta. Like, I love knitting Ozetta patterns. I think they're very well done. I think that they're easy to follow. And I think they're gorgeous elevated basics, in my opinion. So the Moonset Tee was published in July of 2021 and currently has a little over 1,500 projects on Ravelry. And it comes in a large size range, so extra small through 5XL. It is a V-neck with a gorgeous, I like the overlapping of the V-neck. It features drop shoulders and I-cord finishes, and it's cropped design, but obviously you can knit it longer if you wanted to. You would just need more yarn. I personally would keep it cropped. I'm a big fan of cropped designs. Let's see. I think it's supposed to have, yeah. So it has around 4 inches or 10 centimeters of positive ease built into the pattern. So it is supposed to be a little bit more loose and airy of a top, which I love. So I think this is one that I could really see myself. I think I've said that about like all of these patterns, but I think this is truly one that I could see myself maybe using the green Friends cotton linen for. I think it would be really nice. Okay, the next yarn that I have is a yarn that I purchased that has a very particular project to it. I purchased this yarn to make this project. This yarn is the Nordic Yarn Lab Tromsø. I know I am butchering that pronunciation. I purchased this in Copenhagen. So it is a fingering weight 100% cotton yarn in this gray, this like kind of light steely gray. And there's 197 yards per 50 grams, and I have 1,300 yards total. So my plan is to knit the camisole number 9 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And I think it's going to be an absolutely gorgeous top. I'm sure everyone knows about this, but we will talk a little bit about it. There are currently 2,700 projects on Ravelry. It is a well-loved design, and it was originally published in July of 2023. And the size range is extra small through 4XL. Very classic top. I have a lot of these types of tops in my wardrobe. I've worn these types of tops forever. They're very bra friendly. I like the negative ease. I like the way that it looks on my body type. So big fan of this one. What else? Top down construction, negative ease, folded edges, very like minimalist, especially in this yarn color. I think this is going to be one of those ones that I reach for on a regular basis. This yarn is also so soft. So if you're able to get it, I would highly recommend. It is really nice, super soft yarn. Okay, so the next yarn I have is one that I'm not really sure if I'm actually going to be able to get something out of this. It might have to wind up being an accessory, but there's potential. I found one pattern that I think would work, but I don't think it's in English. So it says it's in English, but then I tried to find it in English and I couldn't find it, I think. Actually, no, I don't think it's in English. So I'm just going to show you guys the yarn that I have, and if you have any ideas, that would be awesome. That this could work for. So I have the Wool and the Gang Shiny Happy Cotton. So I have one in an ivory white and then one in cinnamon dust. So these were originally purchased for a baby blanket. I did not knit the baby blanket. So now I have, I don't have one. I have two in ivory. So I have two in ivory and one in cinnamon dust. So my thought is to maybe do a stripey or a color blocky type of tank top with this. So it's 100% Pima cotton, Aran weight yarn with 155 yards per 100 grams. So I think I have, so if it's 155, so I have about like 450 yards. I think maybe I could get it like a tank top, maybe like a stripey tank out of it. I don't know. If anyone, like I said, has any ideas for me on this yarn, I would greatly appreciate it because I do love it. I think it's a great color. It matches my color vibe, my color palette quite well. So suggestions on that one would be greatly appreciated. The pattern I had originally found was the number 19 neck holder top, but like I said, it's not in English, so I'm not really gonna talk too much about it. The next yarn, okay, I'm almost there. 3 more yarns, so hopefully I can finish. The next one I have is the K&C Knit and Crochet Essential Cotton. So this was the Joann Fabrics brand. So I purchased it as Joann's was going out. I bought like a ton. How much did I get? Let's see. I was like, oh, I need to get it all. So I bought 6 skeins of this DK weight fabric in the colorway Gold Coast. So this is 100% cotton DK weight, and it has 180 yards per 100 grams. So my thoughts for this yarn was the Amy top by Mochi Knits. I think that could be a really cute option. It was first published in April of 2025. And it currently has 288 projects on Ravelry. It comes in sizes 1 through 7 and is supposed to have positive ease of 6 centimeters or 2 to 2.3-ish inches. The sizes range from bust circumference of 80 to 85 and 120 to 130 centimeters, or 31.5 through 33.5 to 47.3 to 51.3 inches. Let's see. All right, so it is a feminine summer top. Oh, I don't think I said it has 288 projects. I did say that. So I think it would work really well with this summer. I think it's a flattering summer silhouette with this pattern and this color. I think it would look very vintage vibes. You know, the polo collar is very vintage, and it's coming back too. It's a very popular thing. And in this like kind of golden yellow, it's very like sunflower. I'm embracing the sun vibes. Another option I had for this was the Shoreline Tee by Ozetta. So that was released in August of 2025 and currently has 101 projects on Ravelry with a size range of extra small through 5XL. So as most Ozetta patterns, very inclusive in its sizing. It's very relaxed, textured, wearable silhouette, and it kind of is a little bit on the cozier side than some of my other options. I don't know if I would necessarily love it in this yarn. It's an option. It might not be the one that I wind up going for though. And the other one that I have listed for this is the Tide Tank Top by, oh wait, that's a crochet pattern. I'm remembering now, I don't crochet. If you do crochet, the Tide Tank Top by Selena Baca is beautiful. And maybe I will start to crochet. Maybe I will crochet this pattern because it is a gorgeous pattern. But I'm not going to talk about it since I don't crochet. Next is the Lacy Loop Tee by Other Loops. Another very popular t-shirt. I think this would also look really, really great in this yarn and this color. So this was originally released in March of 2025 and it has 926 projects on Ravelry with a size range of extra small through 2XL. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be worked with quite a bit of positive ease. Positive ease of 25 to 30 centimeters. Which obviously will gradually decrease as the size of the shirt gets bigger, which is not ideal. You would hope that designers were able to maintain the positive ease through all sizes because even though you're in a larger body, we want to be able to wear things with positive ease as well. But it's still a gorgeous top and I think it would look really great with this yarn. And it does require the DK, which is really nice. It's a very airy lace t-shirt with a very relaxed, oversized fit. And it does give a bit more of a beachy vibe than some of the other ones. This would be one of those ones that I'm not 100% sure on the practicality because I would have to wear a tank top under it since it is pretty loose lace airiness. I don't know where my pure silk went, but I also have some knitting for all of pure silk, which is left over from my Ophelia top. And that has quite a bit of options for me as well. So I have about 924 yards remaining of the pure silk. One design I think would be awesome in this is the Tansy Tank by Alicia Plummer. And that is a little bit on the less practical side. It is a very airy lacework tank. It currently has 25 projects on Ravelry and was released in August of 2023. So not a very popular pattern. It is very romantic, but not as practical. And it does have a size range of 24 inches through 72 inches and 61 through 183 centimeters. So it looks like it's meant to fit a little bit looser in the top. So yeah, or it's intended to be worn with 6 to 4 inches or to about 4 inches or 10 centimeters of negative ease. But it looks like it's also like pretty loose, so I don't know. It says the model has 4 inches of negative ease, but still looks like a pretty loose, airy, drapey tank top. Okay, the next option I had for my knitting for all of pure silk, which I don't think I would actually have enough yarn for, but one can hope, is another summer open back top by Crystal Liu. So it was released in July of 2022 and has 37 projects on Ravelry. It only comes in sizes 1 through 5, which are, and then the size 5 only really goes to bust circumference of 99 to 105 centimeters or 39 to 41.5 inches, which is not very size inclusive. I would have to knit the top end of this in order to make it fit my bust. It's very cute. It is a bottom-up construction though, not ideal. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous pattern. It's just not very size inclusive. As I was building this roundup, I wasn't necessarily looking at the sizes, and as I've gone through and like filmed, I'm like, oh, it's not the best, but I want to include it because it's beautiful, and maybe one day she will add some more size inclusivity into this pattern. Or I would appreciate if people had any recommendations for very similar patterns that are a bit more size inclusive. So I am sorry if anything has moved. I had to stop filming for a moment, and I have 4 minutes before I need to stop filming again. So let's see if I can get through at least one of the other yarns. So I was still in Knitting for All of Pure Silk. So another option I had for the Knitting for All of Pure Silk is the square neck camisole by Helene Beba, which was released in June of 2022 and currently has 707 projects on Ravelry. So it has a size range of extra small through 2XL, which fits a bust circumference of 31.5 to 33.5 through 43.25 to 47.25 inches. So it is supposed to have, it is a top-down knit that is stretchy, so I think it's supposed to have some negative ease in the fit. It is a square neckline, very sleek and fitted. I personally love a square neckline top. I think it's very flattering for larger busts and someone like me who has a bit more, I feel like my shoulders are kind of there. And it feels like a top that I would be able to wear quite often, especially in the cream that I have Knitting for All of Pure Silk in. I think it would be a luxury and well-utilized knit. And then the final top I have for the Pure Silk is the Stella top by Sewrella Volkova, I believe. Yeah, Volkova, which was released in June of 2022 and has 106 projects on Ravelry and is a very similar top to the square neck camisole. It has a larger size range though, and it comes in a 2 extra small through 4XL for a finished chest circumference of 22.5 through 58.5 inches or 57 through 149 centimeters with about 2 to 8 inches or 5 to 20 centimeters of negative ease, which is quite a bit of a range of negative ease. It also gives a very elegant, feminine look, tiny little tank vibes, which I think would be very excellent in my wardrobe, especially in the Knitting for All of Pure Silk. All right, I am back and I am ready to finish this video. We have 2 more yarns and just a few patterns left, so let's go ahead and dive right in. The second to last yarn that I have to talk about is the K&C Botanical yarn. So this is another one that I grabbed before Joann Fabrics closed, and it is their brand, the Botanical yarn. So it is an Aran weight yarn, which is 70% bamboo viscose and 30% cotton. So there are 137 yards per 100 grams. I have 3 skeins of the bright white, which leads me to 411 yards total of this yarn. So there's a couple, I think I have 2 patterns that I could do with this yarn. The first is the Adriaphil Lignano top. So this is a pattern that was published in January of 2024. There are currently no projects on Ravelry, and it has 4 sizes, so it's not the most size inclusive: small, medium, and extra large. The bust circumference ranges 71 to 84 centimeters, or 27 to 33 inches. Honestly, don't even know if this would fit me, if I'm being honest. It's just a tiny little bra top. It's a tiny little bra top. I mean, I could maybe make it work. I could knit it and see, and if it doesn't fit, I could give it to a friend who has a smaller bust circumference than me. We would see. But it's a tiny little top, and it has not very good, what's it called? Size range. So, which could probably explain why there's not very many, or any knits on Ravelry. Like I said, very tiny little bra top. It would be worn around my house most likely. Not the most practical of knits, but it fits an Aran weight yarn. So. And then the top that I will most likely knit with this yarn is the top Eva by Mochi Knits. So this was released in March of 2024 and has 110 projects on Ravelry. Size ranges extra small through 3XL, which matches a bust circumference of 82 to 126 centimeters, or 32.2 through 49.6. So the pattern has a pretty decent, and it's supposed to have approximately 2 centimeters or 0.8 inches of negative ease at the bust. It's just a cute little kind of almost square neck tank top with thicker straps, so it would fit quite well for a bra friendly garment. It's just minimalist. It's wearable. It would be very nice in a pretty white top. It would become, I feel like, quite a staple in my wardrobe. And I think I would have just enough yarn, potentially, to knit it. So it could also be another one of those things. We'll knit it and see what happens. What am I gonna lose? What am I gonna lose, you know? Alrighty, which brings us to the final yarn of this video. And this is one that has a particular project assigned to it. I did purchase with this project in mind. Okay, so the final project is my Tynn by Sandnes Garn. So I have 3 balls of Tynn by Sandnes Garn, which is, let me pull it up because I'm a little messy on this one. Okay, so I have 3 skeins. So it is a fingering weight yarn that is 53% cotton, 33% bamboo rayon, and 14% linen / flax. And it has 241 yards per 50 grams. So I have a total of 721.8 yards. And my plan is to knit the Louisa top by Maria's Verden, which was released in May of 2025 and has a total of 24 projects on Ravelry. I cannot remember her name specifically, but it was knit by a YouTuber. I will insert her channel name here and also link it down below. And she did this in 1 strand of Tynn in a single color. I think it was a single color, and I loved how it turned out. So I was like, I must also do this. So it is a striped camisole knit in a lace structure pattern that has these beautiful fans and waves. The sample is in a multi-color. We just had some Chewy delivered. I'm sorry. Okay, so it is knit multicolor, and it comes You could make a set, you could make a matching skirt. It's very cute. It has a size range of extra, extra small through 4XL to fit a circumference of 71 through 124 centimeters or 28 through 48 and 7/8 inches. It is worked flat, has negative ease, and I believe it's a bottom-up construction. So that's going to be interesting. I am, as I mentioned earlier, currently knitting the Vera top, which is bottom-up. I don't necessarily love bottom-up conceptually. I think it lends itself to potentially ill-fitting garments. However, I think it's really cute, so I'm gonna do it anyways. And I think it's gonna be really, really adorable, and I'm very excited for the finished product. I think it's gonna be a very wearable garment within my wardrobe, especially based off of the fabric of the yarn and the just the look and the general vibe of the top. I think it will be one that I will really be able to utilize quite often in Florida weather. So that is a lot of stuff. There was a lot of stopping and going in this, but that brings us to the end of my little summer yarn stash dive into what I have in my stash and what patterns I could potentially knit with them, as well as a couple of summer knitting plans. So I really, really hope you guys enjoyed this video, especially as a follow-up to my previous video where I kind of went through the type of summer patterns I'm finding myself wanting to knit or that I think might be practical in my day-to-day wardrobe. So if this is something that you did enjoy watching, please like, subscribe, and tell me what are your favorite summer patterns. Have you knit any of these, and have you used any of these summer yarns? And if so, what were your thoughts? What were your feelings? And I really do look forward to reading your responses, and we'll see how my summer knitting goes. I'll keep you guys updated, and as always, thank you so much for watching.